A generalization of the chicken plucker works for any arrangement of progressive squares that are first made into lines by saying sides lead to the right and circle to a line. Have a look at this arrangement here. We start out and we do right and left through, and pass through, move on to the next. That's like the pass through trade by. Then right and left through, and pass through, move on to the next. And that zeroes out. Of course, after each part of that, you could do simple zeros. Notice what happens if we have a more complicated arrangement on the floor. Let's try the same thing. Right and left through, pass through, move on, right and left through, and pass through, move on. Zeros out. More complicated arrangement. Same thing. Pass through, right and left through, pass through, move on, right and left through, pass through, move on. Even if we had a corner missing from the arrangement, as long as the dancers understand what move on means, it means that if there's no one there for them to work with, they must partner trade. So let's try it. Right and left through, pass through, move on, right and left through, and pass through, move on, back to 0. Of course, this is somewhat dull because everything is working vertically and only the squares in the same column up and down the hall work with one another. But it turns out that there's a much more interesting generalization of the chicken plucker, and I'll talk about that in the next clip.